Academy's Greek 1 course. We're ready for Lesson 7 in Gleason's Greek Primer. It's on page 29. The alpha, or first declension, nouns in long alpha or eta. Nouns of this declension end in alpha or eta when they're feminine, or as or ace when they're masculine. The stem ends in a, which in the singular is often lengthened to a after epsilon, iota, or rho, or it's in eta. All right. Well, as you can see there, our paradigm noun is hora, hour, or akra, citadel. But the endings, a, as, a, an, I, own, ice, as. And note in the dative singular that iota subscript, just as there was with the omicron declension, or the O declension if you like. Had that iota subscript in the dative singular, so likewise we have that here. Their text is a little easier to read there with akra. As, an, I, own, ice, as. Again, we're not using the vocative. And then you see the word for the in the feminine, there with the small tent. He mikraskene. He, tes, te, tain. And in the dative singular, that's a iota subscript. And then the plural, hi, tone, tis, tas. So really just what you would expect, very much similar to the masculine, generally masculine omicron declension. And likewise the word for the, very similar to the masculine and neuter ways of doing it. In the, like the masculine, in the nominative, singular, and plural. Instead of being te or tai, it simply has the rough breathing mark, he or hi. And then the rest of them are simply the endings that you would expect, plus the letter tau on the beginning. So now look at his he mikraskene, and you can see that skene uses eta instead of alpha. So it goes a, ace, a, ain, I, own, ice, as. So the plurals are the same. In the singular, either the noun will take alpha or will take eta as the characteristic vowel there. All right. They've got a note on the accent there. Observe that in all the forms of the genitive plural, there's a circumflex on the ultima. It's because that's actually a contraction. Aon is contracted there. 90, most adjectives in Greek are declined, and as in Latin, they agree in number, gender, and case to the nouns they limit. So you can see that with the way he has declined the phrase, he mikras skene. So the genitive of that is tes mikras skenes. So the article, the, tes, that goes to the genitive. The adjective has to be in the genitive, and the noun has to be in the genitive. They agree in number, gender, and case. And so they're both feminine, they're both singular, they're both genitive. So nouns and adjectives agree with the nouns that they modify in gender, number, and case. That's very important. So you should have cards to study with the endings, both with alpha in the singular and with eta in the singular. You should have a flashcard with the forms of the feminine forms of the, he, tes, te, tain, hi, tone, tis, tas. And you should definitely know and remember that adjectives and nouns agree in number, gender, and case. Page 30. Adjectives of the vowel declension are declined in the masculine and neuter, like nouns in as and on, and in the feminine, like nouns in a or ain. That is, when you have an adjective that has three terminations, that is an adjective that changes the way it changes its endings based on its gender. So agathos means good. If it's going to describe something that's feminine, it will change to agathe, because it needs to agree in gender with the noun it modifies. And if it's going to describe something neuter, agathon. It's going to change to its neuter form so that it can describe and limit or modify a neuter noun. And then in the genitive, again, you know these masculine endings: os, u, o, on, oi, on, ois, us. Likewise, now you know these feminine endings of this other declension: a, ace, a, ain, ion, isos. Okay. Very well. Vocabulary. He acra, height or citadel. He epistole is a letter. And again, I'm putting the appropriate article, the word for the, in front of these based on their gender. That's a good thing to do when you make your vocabulary cards. So don't just put epistole, put he epistole, the epistle. So, you know, there's another way to get into your mind that this is a feminine word. He hemera, day. He come, village. He mache, battle. He oikia, house. Ha polemos, war. It's masculine. Ha polemos. He skene, tent. He hora, land or country. He hora, hour, season, or time. Deca simply means 10. And makros, makra, makron, that's an adjective, so it has 3 endings there. Makros, makra, makron means large. And mikros, mikra, mikron is short or small. And fabaras, fabara, fabaron, that's fearful or terrible. All right, we're ready for our translations. Tes hemeros. How do you translate that? Well, what case is it? It's a genitive. So how do you translate the genitive? With the word of. So that's of the day. Deca skenais. Excuse me. Deca skenais. What case is skenais? It's dative. It's plural. Translate the dative usually with 2 or 4. So this means 2 10 tenths or 4 10 tenths. Now, deca is indeclinable. The numbers do not change forms after the number 3. They don't change forms. Makras maches. Makras maches. Again, what case is that? It's genitive. You translate with of the large battle. Sentence 4. Ton mikron oikion. Ton mikron oikion. Genitive, plural, of the small houses. Sentence 5. Haites koras komai. Haites koras komai. Hai komai. Nominative. Komai is village. So kome is village. So the plural, the villages. Tes koras. That's genitive. So of the land, country. So the villages of the land. And again, very often a genitive that's kind of modifying a noun goes between the word the and the noun itself. All right. If you like, pause the tape, write out your answers to section 95, and then play the tape again to correct yourself. Haton theon palamas ein favoras. What's the verb? Ein. Third person singular, imperfect, from the verb eimi, to be. So it was. What was? What's in the nominative? Ha palamos. The war was. What kind of war? Ha ton theon. The war of the gods was terrible. 2. Tagar tekna uk eicha ploya. Tagar tekna uk eicha ploya. All right, well, we have a little footnote there. What does that say? That our verb eiche is the imperfect of echo. So that epsilon combines in the imperfect to make a diphthong, eicha. So he, she, or it was having. Well, what was having? Ta tekna. Remember, neuter nouns in the plural take singular verbs. So for the children, gar, for the children did not have boats, ploia. 3. Indite micra come ein mache fabra. Indite micra come ein mache fabra. The verb, imperfect, ein, there, imperfect, third person singular. What's in the nominative to go with it? Mache fabra. So there was a terrible battle. Indite micra come. But in the tiny town, there was a terrible battle. Sentence 4. Eis gartein oikian efugan hoiduloi. Eis gartein oikian efugan hoiduloi. So, what is our verb? It is efugan. Parse efugan. What tense is efugan? That's one of our irregular strong aorists from fugo or foigo or feugo, however you want to say that diphthong. It's third person plural, indicative active of the aorist of feugo. So what goes with it? What's in the nominative? Hoi duloi. The slaves fled. Eis gar tein oikion. For into the house the slaves fled. 5. Kaiakton skenon evelon lithus makrus. Kaiakton skenon evelon lithus makrus. Where's the verb? Evelon. Now note here, how many L's in evelon? How many lambdas? 2. So this is imperfect. It's the exact same spelling except just with one lambda to be the aorist. It has a strong aorist. But evelon, they were throwing. Who were throwing? Anything in the nominative? Nothing in the nominative. So it's simply they were throwing. What were they throwing? What's in the accusative? Lithus makrus, large stones. They were throwing large stones. Kai ekton skenon, and out of the tents they were throwing large stones. 6. Hemeras deca eminamen ento hiero. Hemeras deca eminamen into hiero. So, what tense is minimen? That's imperfect. We were remaining, first person plural. We were remaining. Into hiero, in the temple. Hemeras deca. What case is hemeras? Hemeras. Hemeras. What do you say? Look back at page 29 and note that we've got genitive singular, horas, and accusative singular, horas. So that can be a point of confusion. All right, as, on, I, on, ice, as. So genitive singular and dative plural with the, accusative plural and genitive singular of these feminine nouns that end in epsilon, iota, or rho. Those two forms are identical. Here, deca hemeros, this is called the accusative of extent of time. So you use the accusative case to show for how long you do something. For 10 days, we were remaining in the temple. 7. Hora ein pimpain tas epistolas. Hora ein pimpain tas epistolas. Ein is the verb. It was the hour. Pimpain, they tell you in a footnote, is an infinitive. It was the hour to send the letters, to send the epistles. 8. Takaka paidia uk elusan tus hippus. Takaka paidia uk elusan tus hippus. The verb is elusan. That's aorist, third person plural. They sent. Who sent? Takaka paidia, the bad children. Uk elusan, the bad children did not loose tus hippus, the horses. 9. Tiskar harpase tas tes akras oikias. Tiskar harpase tas tes akras, oikias. Where's the verb? Harpase. What what tense is harpase? It's future. You have to add the sigma to the stem to make the future, and that's where the zeta went. It was subsumed by that sigma. So it's third person singular, future indicative active. He, she, or it will grasp or grab or take. For who, tis, for who will take the houses of the citadel? For who will seize the houses of the citadel? Tes akras, that's genitive singular. 10. Ti graphes. Ti heures epi to patamo. Ti graphes. What are you writing? Ti heures epi to patamo. What tense is heures? That's that irregular aorist of eurisco, which means I find. So heures, second person singular. You found. What did you find, or what found you? What did you find in the river? In the river. This is a cute little dialogue between two students. Work on this one on your own. It's a fun little dialogue, and he's got some hints there for you. If you want a little extra work this week, go ahead and work on the dialogue. It's a fun way to do it. But for this week, you simply need to study your vocabulary and learn these new noun forms before you'll be ready to continue on with the quiz and then to Lesson 8.